Welcome to our August Wdwrd Township Supervisor meeting. We're going to start with a pledge to the flag, and we're back to our little mini flag here. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we're going to follow suit here as our last few meetings. We're going to break off in our executive session real quick before we start our meeting. So, do I have a motion if we do that now this time? For personnel matters. And we have to discuss a couple payments. Got a motion? Roll call. Roll call Wayne, John, and myself. There is some new people here, just so you're aware. These meetings are recorded for audio, and we also have a visual recorder going on as well, so just so everybody's aware of that. First thing on our agenda here is the prior minutes, or prior meeting minutes. So we actually have two. We have the July, or June 1 and July, I believe. Yeah, just do it. Yeah, just do I have a motion to approve the minutes from both prior meetings?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that. Roll call Wayne.
Aye.
John. Aye. And myself, aye. And we are going to go back to minutes that are more of a revised kind of summary of what's going on. Some of our prior meetings here, they were like dialogue and verbatim what was going on. We don't really have to do that, so if there's an issue, we have it recorded that we can go back on to figure out what was going on, if there was any controversy or whatever. So, the next thing on our agenda is the financial report, which Jackie will read.
Right. The Township Treasurer Account General Fund, the balance on July 31st is $591,335.48. The balance in the special fund, July 31st, $74,941.14. And the state aid checking, ending balance on July 31st, $407,863.03. Recreation checking, ending balance, $10,837.95. Fire tax checking, ending balance, $82,764.10. The sewer fund, general fund, ending balance on July 31st, $392,731.68. Special fund, ending balance, $375,875.63. And bond account, ending balance, $580,087.72.
Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report for the township and sewer funds?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. Roll call Wayne.
Aye.
John. Myself, aye. And then bills to be paid.
Bills to be paid. Out of the Township General Fund, $17,159.62. Out of the fire tax account, $2,962.26. And sewer account, out of the sewer general fund, $3,799.89.
Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll second it.
Roll call Wayne.
Aye.
John. And myself, aye. All right, we have no correspondence. So we'll move down to public comment. If anybody has questions on anything down below here on the, which would be just under old business this month, on the agenda there, now is an opportunity. If you have a question about that, you can ask before we get to it. Okay.
What's with non-public safety? Where is that insurance that?
For which, sewer or?
Yeah, it's our
Well,
general.
you fire department, so.
Yes, for the police department under the general fund for the vest.
Oh, okay.
For sewer, it's for helmets. Or, excuse me. Fire is helmet.
Okay. All right. Move on to department reports. I think our sewer guys here have mics on. Sewer, I know they've been checking some issues that have been ongoing. I know they had replaced some parts down in our pump station here that were defective, that weren't working, whether that was that fan or something like that down there. Other than that, I think things have been fairly quiet there right now. We've been fortunate this year. The rainfall is not normal this year, so we've been not getting infiltration like we had the past 3 years. So our flow rates are down right now, which is saving us a lot of hassle with problems that have been ongoing there with the sewer lines in the township. You guys have anything for sewer there? All right. Recreation, it's fairly quiet right now, and then our park's getting used as normal. There's still quite a bit of use down there, pavilion rentals and playground equipment as well. I know last weekend there was more people down there than there is Labor Day weekend. I don't know what the deal was, but it was quite busy. Yeah. We have a piece of equipment down there that broke a couple months ago, and we're looking at replacement on that, although we've got some ideas on some alternatives there. The replacement cost for the piece that's there right now is anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, depending on the size that we go with. So, trying to come up with some other ideas. I think we're going to have a recreation meeting here soon and talk with everybody there and just kind of try and pinpoint what we want to replace that freestanding piece with. Road reports. Our guy's been out on North Vista doing some work. We're going to talk about some things about that job there when we get down to old business. I know they're going to be jumping on to some other projects that we've been talking about over the past couple of months, and some other ones that we've highlighted in the past meeting or two. And did Jessica send that paperwork to be signed in?
She sent an email, but it didn't have the
Signature pages?
signature pages because she hasn't received them from Becky yet.
Yeah, okay. All right, we'll wait for that then. All right, we'll jump down to old business here. Resolution tap-on fee, we're going to table that once again. We're collecting some information about that. We currently charge $3,600 for a new customer to tap onto our sewer line. We had changed it at one point there to $1,800, but we never adopted the resolution. So we're kind of checking on a few things before we move forward and make that concrete decision there. We do have a firework ordinance to adopt that we've been discussing for the past few months. So that was advertised and is on the agenda tonight for us to adopt. So I have a motion that we adopt the firework ordinance that we've laid out.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, Wayne,
Aye.
John, and myself. Next thing we need to adopt is a sewer lateral inspection ordinance. Something that's been on the agenda for quite some time now, that we were going to start requiring when homes changed ownership, that they would be required to have their sewer lateral inspected and pay a fee. Bob, do you want to, is there anything to add to that, or?
Yeah, the initial fee is going to be $150 for the inspection. That will be subject to change by resolution in the future if need be, if costs go up or whatever the case may occur. I would recommend, though, that, and I was thinking about this, it might not be a bad idea if once we pass this ordinance, if in fact that Jackie could possibly send it to the local realtors.
I was going to do that, just to let
Just
them
so
know.
everybody gets an idea, because I don't know how well this is going to be, disseminated among the public.
That's a question. There are closing scheduled from this day forward.
Well, we're gonna have to
Do
be,
do they have to comply with this ordinance, or is it?
well, there's 3 days until the ordinance actually goes into effect, but I would recommend that we be discretionary as far as letting it transition in.
September 1st or something like that, I give it a few weeks.
Well, it didn't go into effect. I mean, you can pass it now, but I'm talking about actually coming down and enforcing it
Right.
regularly. At least to give people a heads up.
I think Jackie and Alicia should communicate on that because she gets a lot of phone calls from my understanding about whether there is an inspection fee.
Okay.
So the calls are coming into there, so if you two can communicate somehow on that is being handled.
I get
that
maybe
way.
1 or 2 a month, if that.
Yeah, I think she's getting the calls forwarded to her because they're checking elsewhere and they're recommending they call the sewer office about it.
Okay.
So if you guys are communicating on that, then we shouldn't be letting anybody slip through the cracks there. So, all right, so do I have a motion that we adopt that ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Wayne.
Aye.
John, myself, aye. The policy procedure manual update, we're gonna go over that in the coming weeks here with our employees, and then we'll have that back on the agenda at a later date. Part-time police officer position update, Steve, you have anything for that, or is there anything new?
One gentleman that we were looking to put on, accepted a full-time position in South Williamsport.
Okay,
At this point in time, we've got a few other ones in, but they're basically discretion of the academy.
right,
I'm asking around, see if anybody.
yeah. All right. I think we're planning to have like some meetings maybe next week with the employees, and we can talk about those things or whatever. We'll get with you guys then. All right, North Vista drive repair. Our guys have been working on a section up there that's been falling apart for quite some time because of poor drainage there and lack of base on that road. We had a work session Wednesday and discussed a few things. There are some options. We talked about putting DSA down on that road and then eventually getting it seal coated. So, which that will most likely be the cheapest initial cost. I don't know about long run, but so I did talk to a superintendent, Paul Baker. They said that DSA should be put down in the paver if you want it done right, because you will not get the grade done properly. And then if you disturb it too much, you mess up the mixture.
You segregate it.
Yeah, and that's a problem. So it sounds like if we want to do it right, we should have it done, put down in the paver, then rolled, and then also it should be tar and chipped pretty quick. Otherwise, potential of segregating the material again.
We give us time to bring them off when they let them do that?
Uh,
How long after?
Well, I know there's one being done for Crawford Township right now, and they're doing it like, they're putting it down and then they're tar and chipping it like within a week or two afterwards. So the potential for getting dips and things like that in it, and then when you try to go back and fix it, you, like Wayne's saying, you segregate the material, and it just doesn't hold like it should, and you end up moving material in larger pieces up to the top. The other option, obviously, in the long run would be the best, is to put down base asphalt. We don't have to do top coat, which would save us money there, and they can, put 3 or 4 inches of a 19 millimeter asphalt down right over top of what we got now, and then they feel that would support that. We talked about John Grant having farming equipment running across that road. So I guess we need to, I think maybe we should get quotes. I know we're trying to do it quick, but it's a short section, and if we can get any of the paving contractors that are working close by, that would be the time to do it, if we're going to do it that way. I think either way, we need to hire somebody because of putting the material down on the paper.
The main thing is, if we don't get the DSA down, is to at least put a thin layer of sub-base.
Right,
Go in like
right.
it was on the church, or the cemetery.
Yeah.
So we don't, I just come across it, they're done with all the base.
Right.
And we had enough, we had, what we took out of Croton did that job,
Okay.
so.
Darren can give us a quote on the paving, give us an estimate. We just need to go out and make a measurement of how many feet, and he can tell us. I mean, they got it narrowed down pretty good with what they're charging on asphalt prices, and DSA as well. So I think we should get the number, and we don't have to, I mean, if we have to move quick, I mean, we can hold a special meeting if that's the case. And say if one of those paving contractors is here close by, we want to utilize them, want to be close
We're
by.
gonna do it, we're gonna get out of it shortly.
Problem is,
Or don't show up.
Well, I know Bowman does a lot of that. They have one paper strictly for,
for small jobs.
well, no, for DSA.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't mix your asphalt paver and
Right.
your aggregate, because the aggregate just tears them apart,
Right.
because there's no lubrication.
I'll call Darren, give him a measurement, and then he can give us an estimate, an idea, and then if it appears that it's gonna be above the bidding thresholds, then we need to start moving quick on that. If it's not, then maybe we can call and get phone quotes and try and move it along quicker. So, because if it's below the threshold and we get phone quotes, then, we don't have to wait till a meeting essentially to move forward if there's an issue, if we need to do it quick.
The two main ones that do it in this area, like I said, Bowman and,
Charles.
no, I don't think, well, he may, but, I don't know.
I think I know your name.
I can see the name on the side of the truck right
Is it a paving company? Like Jeff Tate paving or?
now. No, but it's a paving company, but it's not
TD?
No. Hey, Steve, who come off the mountain last year so fast? What was the name of that group? I don't know. Gutierrez.
Oh, Dave
Dave
Gutierrez,
Gutierrez.
yeah. Okay.
The two of them, Bowman and Gutierrez, they're
Yeah.
on that around here.
Okay.
And Gutierrez has got equipment in the area right now, I know that.
Right.
So,
Well, call Darren about that quick, just get an idea, and we can make a decision. And something I should have talked about in the road report, I forgot, but I'll add it now here while we're talking road stuff. The line painting on Procala. It's like a little under $3,000 for that alpha space control to come in and do. That would be for center line and edge line. Now, if we wanted, we don't have to do it first off. There's less than 3,000 cars on that road per day, so we're not required to paint that road. If we do it, I'm kind of reiterating some stuff that was said last week at the work session. If we want to do the center line and use liquid fuel money, it has to be done double line. And then the state if you're gonna do edge line, the state wants you to have a 20-foot wide road.
we're not wide enough.
So technically, we shouldn't do an edge line because they want 10-foot lanes. So we need to focus on getting the center lane done. So I think that road in spots is 16 to 18 foot wide.
We do the edge line, just not pay for it out of the state line.
I didn't take it that way, I don't believe so. They want 10-foot lanes, you're putting edge line down.
Bobby, what would, I know you don't get into probably a lot of that. What if there's an accident on a road and the lanes aren't the 10-foot, say they're 8 or 8.5?
I mean, that'd be the same deal as somebody driving out Cybercrest, there's no edge lines there, and they rank, I mean,
I'm not gonna, I don't wanna guess on that. I would have to say it's probably based upon the required width, the statutory width. And I'm not quite sure, there's a range, I believe. I might be able to find it here tonight if you guys wanna see if I can look it up. I don't wanna guess at it though.
If we get the center lines, and then where the people are so concerned, which they do have a legitimate concern, and maybe we get the 20-inch pipe set up, put grade over them, where they could drop in on that.
Yeah.
and we should have delineators down through there, reflective ones that would help people see as well. So we could throw some of them in down there as well.
Those would do right away.
Yeah.
I do the thing, like, we need some pipes or something, right up against almost the edge of the road.
Right,
Drop down that far.
right. And
Right.
if they do just the center line, I think it's somewhere around $1,300, so we want to, they're doing some work up in this area here for some other townships nearby, and that would, I think they were figuring on that price if they were in the area doing stuff, so we might want to take advantage of that. You know, and that's way below any quote thresholds if we want to go ahead and do it.
What company did you say?
Alpha Space Control.
And then that will help us with what? Getting the center of that road.
Yeah, so that's another thing too. Was there a specific complaint about, was there a concern there that came up about the survey situation, or what was the deal?
Yeah, there was a couple of homeowners down there.
Because I mean, the
They-
center of the road is still the center of the road, and we didn't go out of our right of way with anything we widened.
Well, what they were saying is where we just widened on one road side, because we're still here, all of us, at 15 or 20 years from now,
Right.
if somebody goes and measures that road, the center just
Yeah.
moved.
And we moved over 2 feet, the sun moved a foot that way then.
Yeah, regardless, it's still in the right of way. It's not their property anyways, I mean, I don't, you know, I get what they're saying, but it's not.
It moved the right way that way a foot, it just dropped.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 16.5 foot deal there, and that's well into the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
Well, I found a partial answer.
all right.
And this is dealing with the right-of-way. Unfortunately, I think your question was asked the paved cartway, correct? There is no regulation as to that. It's just the width of the right-of-way. 33 feet minimum and 120
Yeah,
feet maximum.
yeah.
But
No,
there's
it's
nothing that
specific.
regulates the macadam portion.
Yeah, that's a specific state guideline there with that, it's not municipal.
We better just stick to that center line.
Yeah.
Take care of the other concerns.
Yeah, and even if you had an edge line on that road, people were still gonna drive down the middle of that road, as we've done for years. It's always been a narrow road, and everybody gravitates to
Good
that.
show on the edge of the road, you know, stay out of the
Right.
holes.
Yeah, if we fix that up, you know,
We got people to play come up and fix it around.
That, some of the delineators will help tremendously down through there, and help spots, so. All right, so how about a motion to have Alpha Space Control come in and do a double yellow line
I'll make
on
a
the
motion.
crew?
I'll second.
Roll call, Wayne.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
And myself, aye. All right, dry hydrant for the boat launch update, like, yeah,
Meeting with him tomorrow afternoon.
okay. All right. Next thing on our agenda is pay raises. At our work session last week, we talked about our one part-time employee that has worked for us in years past, but came back this year again. He has always done small jobs here. He's either been doing bathroom maintenance type stuff or helping the guys out, but now he is assisting with some fabrication and welding and a few other things that he deserves a little more than what he's been getting. So he was at $10 an hour, and we discussed moving him up to $12.50 an hour because of the welding things that he's going to provide us versus paying shop rates around here at probably $65 an hour in a welding shop for maintenance that needs done on our truck. So, and he's not permanent here. I don't know when he's leaving, but we're going to try and utilize him as best as we can before he does move on to a new career. So, are we all good with $12.50 an hour? I have a motion that we give Aaron Schultz a pay raise from $10 to $12.50 an hour effective Monday.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, Wayne.
Aye.
John. And myself, aye. Communication policy update, we'll go over that in our meetings with our employees. The COVID-19 procedures and policies update, we've discussed that we've kind of been following the state guidelines and county things that have been provided to us, and we're just going to continue to follow suit there. So just so it's a little more official, do I have a motion that we follow those guidelines that have been laid forth
motion, we follow the county and state guidelines.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Wayne,
Aye.
John, and myself, aye. And then 21 Oil Road, that's the sewer property. We're nothing new to discuss there. So we'll continue under open business until a further date. So we have other things to try and put in place first before we discuss that any further. We have no new business, so we will move to the floor, and we'll start up front here. Cindy? One of the guys? Ron here?
I just wanted to check with John on that address issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John mentioned about you had some issues going on over there with your address there, that there were some deliveries.
Yeah, he was having some deliveries for, I think it was Chris Lane, wasn't it, Roger?
Well, basically what I'm talking about is
Okay.
that other side has never been properly addressed mail-wise. The part that, the pizza deliveries I can live with, a lot of the census people, not a big deal. The one that bothered me the most was the night my wife and I were in state college. I had EMS at my door. If it wasn't for the doorbell, I wouldn't have known they were even there. My point is, with this address issue, they're not getting the doggone right addresses given out. Sometime somebody's gonna pay for that wrong address. I don't want to be involved in it.
That'd be like emergency management of the county. Who would handle the address stuff like that?
You folks have the addresses, the police department has the whole new address and everything laid out for them. The problem seems to be nobody is empowered to implement it. I don't know what it's going to take to implement it, but the police department, I'm sure, can show you, they lay it out for you. It's all named, identified by numbers and the whole 9 yards.
Is this
It's
within
pretty
the
flat.
park?
If I can, this was sent to us by GIS from the county. The county decided to, and I know with Roger's property, they renamed to Roberts Lane and separated, his house from the other side. Probably last month, and this was a couple months ago, Jim Watson sent over the new maps, new addresses. I called him one time and said, "What's going on, Jim? Nobody really said anything to anybody I'm aware of." "Well, this is what we're doing." Okay. We keep getting dispatched to 129 lot whatever. About a month ago, I called Jim and said, "I thought we were using new addresses. Why is the comm center sending us with the old address?" He said he has been in contact with the owner of that property several times, and it's on the owner of the property to change the addresses before the county will change. They're like sending EMS, fire, things like that. That is the property owner's responsibility, just like the way Roger took care of his,
So who's the owner?
Dwayne Lawson.
So should we have a letter sent to him?
And that's up to you folks. The county's the one who took, made the change.
Yeah.
And they've been in contact with him, but Jimmy Watson told me that nothing has changed on it. And that the county won't use the new addressing system until he changes the addresses in the trailer court itself.
I got the same thing from him, because right after we got it, I called him for the same thing, and he said he can't change all of it until the other half's changed, because it was all 129. So, and he told me the same thing, they can't change, just up and change it, it has to be the homeowner, so.
So can we send Watson a letter as a safety issue that it needs to be changed because there's been,
Say that again, he can't change it because why?
no, the county can't change it because the owner hasn't changed it.
Oh, absolutely send him a letter.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
you ever come across that? You have a
No,
state
never,
document?
absolutely not. And I think what you should do is just tell him that, the liability is gonna fall upon him if an issue arises.
So let's just give them a
Because
phone
it
call.
will.
We'll give them a phone call first, and then if we need reinforcement, and maybe we can do some legal document. Phone call's cheaper than you typing up a letter. All right, we'll do that. All right, are you good then with that? Okay. Jim?
Have you heard anything from Dunstable Township about repairing the bridge, cider press, the Lateral?
There's been people who've asked us about it, which they weren't aware that it was Dunstable's. So, but I don't know what these guys have heard, but I've heard they've been waiting on some funding and it potentially might be getting replaced this fall.
No, I didn't do that on purpose.
Is everybody awake?
Yes, I think
Scared the hell out of me.
about, we don't know if there are any updates on the bridge there at Tobacco Shed Road and Cider Press, but funding, I think they're waiting on, it's, the project's already been reviewed and approved, I think. I don't want to speak on behalf of them, it's just what I heard from one of their people. And I think they, I think there was also something they weren't allowed in that stream until a certain date because of like fish spawning or something, I don't know. The minis that are in there, probably.
Yeah, one time it's dry.
There's no trophy trout in there, but,
It's dry.
yeah. So, yeah. Lynn?
How about the burning ordinance? We've been having quite the issue out in the nights with people burning the garbage.
Okay. I don't have the ordinance in front of me, but from what I know, it's got to have a lid on it and it can't be after dusk.
Burning garbage though?
It's got to be, well,
The
I don't know about
garbage,
that. I won't
not
speak on
wood
that.
or.
That's not permissible, period.
Okay.
I really understand that.
You should file a formal written complaint.
Have you seen them burning, like actual, they're
You
burning?
can smell it. We all have to win. Our neighbor, Tom and Cheryl Lawman,
Right,
she has to take her clothes right away out of the dryer and put them away because it's coming in through the dryer vents. We can't sit out on the back porch.
yeah.
This is daily. We don't see them put garbage cans out every week.
Right. We'll talk to you after the meeting, give us a name if you want, and we can talk to them and watch for it.
Okay, please.
So, all right.
Thank you.
Yep. Bob? Michelle?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yep, Kevin?
Just last month, you guys said you were going to check with the workers' comp to see about individuals using equipment.
Yep.
Did you get a response back, or?
We did, and
They didn't really have a problem with OSHA proof.
is that it? Yeah, so they did email back. The NFPA guidelines are only recommendations, not requirements. It can be recommended to the fire chief that he not wear the non-NFPA helmet, but you cannot force him not to. With regard to paying a claim, the claim would be investigated and determination made. After the conversation, Whitmer's was contacted to find out exactly what makes the helmet non-compliant and could it be fixed. Whitmer said some of the helmet lighters passed the heat test and some didn't, so it couldn't be given an NFPA rating and there was no fix. But I think the helmet was removed from service. Is that right?
It's laying over there.
Yeah, it's not in use.
Just to follow up, have you guys adopted NFPA fire codes in the township?
Not that I'm aware of.
Why not?
Well, this fire business is a little new to us since January, so that's something we'll definitely look into and, try to tackle.
Does all the other townships have it adopted?
I don't know, but since you guys are required under statute to ensure fire protection,
Well, every
Say-
township won't require.
right, but under the second class township code, you guys are responsible for ensuring protection is provided to the means and extent. That includes determining whether you're going to have NFPA standards or not. So it's really not new. The fire tax is new, but the responsibility of ensuring fire protection dates back years.
Right. Well, it's something we'll definitely look into. I mean, if we need to get our hands on those guidelines, review them, go over it with the fire company, I would assume, and then adopt it.
Because
guidelines.
if you do adopt NFPA, it no longer becomes a recommendation, it becomes enforceable at that point.
Right, okay,
We know
okay.
The township you live in, or they?
I believe so. A lot of them in Pennsylvania are, and I've even talked to individuals at the State Fire Commission and NFPA.
Okay.
State Fire Commission says it's entirely up to the townships or the municipalities to adopt it or not. But NFPA states, true, it's not a law, it's a recommendation, but once it's established and adopted, it can be enforced.
There's no negative. It sounds like you understand or know a little bit about it. There's no negative to adopt, is there?
If you adopt it and there's a violation, it could come back
Right.
as a liability to the township.
Right.
And it's not just I mean, that's across the nation, anybody that adopts an NFPA standard.
Right.
It's not just a Pennsylvania thing, it's a national, that's why it's a National Fire Protection Association.
Okay. We'll look into it, talk with the fire company, and then try to set something up there and just kind of make sure we got all the information gathered and
So who enforces it?
Well, you would, as the supervisors who are in charge of ensuring the fire protection, because you would, I don't want to tell you how to do this. I mean, it's right there in Act 7, but it's, you would establish the means and extent of fire and emergency medical services within the township.
right.
You meet with the fire department, you do that, and then if they don't adhere to that, however you set up your enforcement is entirely upon you.
Okay.
But I do know insurance companies, if they find departments are non-compliant, they can affect your ISO rating, and most likely your premiums for the customers will go up.
Okay. Well, we'll put that on the agenda for next month then, and then try to get with the fire company in between to see if we can.
Can I talk about that a second?
Yeah.
The only thing you have to watch with adopting the NFPA standards is how costly it can be. You have to have the standard on everything.
Right.
So it can be pretty costly on the
It's
taxpayers.
kind of what I was wondering with the
So
negative.
there's safety standards you have to look at, but adopting the whole thing could be quite costly.
Okay.
So what you're saying, Trevor, if we adopted that and 3 of their trucks don't meet it,
You'd have to look
they
at
have to buy 3 new trucks.
or update them to the NFPA standard. But I don't know, Kevin might be able to answer. Is it retroactive from the time that you buy the equipment? Like if you buy a brand new fire truck, it comes in NFPA. Do you have to update it as an NFPA standards update? Or is it the one-time deal upon delivery?
It would,
Because if it's on delivery,
if you buy a vehicle, it's typically set up to the current standard of NFPA.
Right.
So then you can adopt. I've seen municipalities, like right now there's 2020 standards out there, but they've adopted 2012, 2015, they've adopted an older version because of that cost and
Right.
things that you have to do. So it's entirely up to you. I've seen some municipalities adopt all or just some. It all depends on what applies to your jurisdiction. But Trevor's right. I mean, it can be costly, but
That's why I was kind of wondering what the.
but I think the liability would be even more costly.
Well, it's your opinion in right now, Trevor, that we wouldn't have to adopt it at all.
Right, you don't have to, that's what Kevin was saying, you don't have to, but if you do, then you have to figure out, like Kevin said, which standard, and if you adopt it every year, you'd have to check in to see, does the fire truck have to be updated every year to go with that?
No, the fire truck doesn't have to be. It's because that sort of gets grandfathered in.
There's a lot in the NFPA standards, there's tons of them.
We should probably gather our facts and make some determinations.
But I will say this: if you want to do something for the community, lower their insurance rates, I would seriously look at NFPA standards because that's what they look at for your ratings.
Okay.
Because they go by a multitude of things.
We'll gather some info and then have
Sure.
some discussions about it, so at least open the door for discussion about it.
The only other thing I'm worried about the NFPA is, since you're using local funds, if it has to be an NFPA when you buy it. Because I know state and federal funding, to buy it out of that, especially FEMA funding, like the AFG grant,
Right.
has to meet NFPA standards first.
Yeah.
That's the
So
piece,
there's, NFPA is screwed.
that's the piece of equipment that you're trying to get, not everything. Like,
Right, yeah. Like if you get the AFG grant for, say, a fire engine, it has to get the NFPA applies to you for AFG. Also, turnout gear if you get it, air packs, it has to meet the current standards.
but, that's what I'm saying, but
Right.
everything
And
don't.
I don't know about state and local funding if it has to meet that standard. I just know it's fed reg is. And that's something we just want to check into. And NFPA is very strict.
Basically. We'll get some facts on it and then make some decisions and have open discussions about it. That way, people know what they're talking about. And
Yeah,
But you got
100%.
one question, you got one question answered I had is, our workers' comp carrier, if you buy something that's not NFPA compliant, is it okay?
Right.
And you got that answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the township to get sued if something happens.
Right.
No, they're-
Okay. You good then, Kevin?
Yeah, thanks.
Brad? Teresa?
Yeah, they were down there with that.
Sorry, yeah.
Julie? Who's the spokesman?
So, I just wanted to talk, I guess, about the speeding on Brewery Island.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's gonna get hurt up there.
We've been made aware of it from one of the other officers. It's not here right now, and we discussed a little bit. I think he would have talked with you about it a little bit.
No, he
maybe.
hasn't, but I know about it. I
Okay.
spoke to one of the gentlemen today. I was aware of it beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually were called, we come up on even when we were there.
Okay.
Someone made a complaint about us being on the road. Excuse me. It's down to the point basically, when we have people come out on a bike, somebody will go out so they can back in safely without getting run over.
Right.
There's people getting run over and all kind of up and down the hall. It's insane.
Right. One idea that was initially floated was putting speed bumps in, which we can't do that. The other thing that we suggested to the officer to maybe relay to you guys was we can put paint markings on the road, like in like big letters that say like slow or something like that. The state did that over here on Wdwrd Avenue there by the Minute Mark where Mill Hill comes up. And it's like the state has their own division where they come in and investigate high crash areas and they determine that, that it's suitable for something like that. So that being our road, we are permitted to do something like that, or, put a sign up, like the slow children playing sign, stuff like that. I mean, we could do something like that, but, I mean, if you guys have any ideas.
Steve, can you paint the lines?
There's kids there,
Can you paint lines and run your gas car there, Steve? Will they let you in the?
Well, the bash car itself, for that, yeah, we can paint lines. The other machines we have, you don't need the lines, because they're tender.
As long as they'll let you set in the lot.
If you back in there by that building, between 4 and 6, you're probably not gonna be happy.
They probably only have to sit there a couple of evenings.
Nighttime, you're
I
saying?
can tell you, the officer has stopped there and talked to us in the evenings, but people flying down that hill, at his car sitting in the road. Don't even know it's him, when they get there, they're jack the brakes on.
Right.
And like we had discussed earlier, it's just kind of, it's my feeling and some of the guys' feeling that it's, I wouldn't say as much the residents as some employees of the one resident.
Employees and young people, that just sort of hang out on weekends.
And because what's doing is 30 up there, so even lowering it to 25. I mean, in all honesty, there's several roads in the township I'd like to see lowered. But then again, that's an expense too, because you have to do the traffic study. The best thing, like we were talking earlier, he described the vehicle to me. We'll look for it. Well, make sure guys go out and visible in the area to try and help take care of the issue with it. We do have a lot of issues around town, but it's good that you're saying, hey, between this time and that, because a lot of times we're here all day long. And it doesn't help us with trying to.
Most of the time it's an evening.
We can.
There was a parking lot at home, I said, I don't know how, he almost didn't make the corner of that box house. I don't know how he made the corner.
We can talk to some of the owners up there and kind of put them on notice too and see if that helps, but we can, some of that stuff does help, putting those paint markings down. I mean, they've obviously done studies on it, so if you guys are, if you think that's beneficial, if you have other ideas,
Whatever will work. Like I said, we don't like standing people on the road either, but
yeah,
we pull a bike up, I don't see somebody get run over either just trying to park.
yeah,
So,
And one thing, when we spoke over earlier, is that, you know, I ride a bike, so I know what you're talking about. And if people don't understand that, some people that take some time to put somebody out there, just to, you know, try and slow somebody down, when you've got a couple of guys or one guy trying to, you know, park their bikes.
yeah, that was something that the PennDOT safety guys said they have one that they infuse into the pavement that does get slippery and it can be dangerous to the motorcyclist. But he said like just regular bead paint, if you don't build it up, it's usually not too bad. That road does have some texture to it, so it probably wouldn't be real bad. But we'll start somewhere with it and just keep monitoring it and go from there.
all right, next, you know, we're gonna fix the road where they cut the drains in.
Yeah, we'll probably do something with that in the next month or so, because we got some other cross pipes we gotta fix. So, yeah.
I can kind of back what he's saying, because a lot of it's washed out.
Washing out.
And it's, you got built-in speed bumps that hurt your feet sometimes with it.
Absolutely.
We can just see if Henry's around and just have him do that real quick.
Or even the guys that put, you know, put the stone back in it, that kind of got knocked out of it for tires for now until it's working.
We'll contact one of our guys that we use for paving for that stuff and see if they can do something with it. Because I think the other ones we got tore up right now are gonna end up being trench drains, so they're not gonna be paved completely.
It'd be better to pave it right now because it's beat down,
Yeah.
put fresh stone in it.
We'll try and do something with that pretty quick.
All right, thank you.
So, yep. Anything else? All right. Trevor, you have anything?
Just, do you get a chance to remember what it's starting to travel down the way they have a big repair there? About a couple months ago, it's just getting some pretty big cracks.
We'll
It was
probably,
only paved, I think, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
yeah, we'll probably be out in late September doing seal cracking.
That's all it is, it's just cracks.
Or crack sealing.
I don't know what about you guys want.
Yeah, there's a bunch of places that need sealed.
It's not completely bad, but there's some whole way across.
Yeah, they usually go out in the fall with the tar buggy.
Across, and then back a few years ago, there's edges, remember, it's started
Right.
washing out underneath,
Yeah,
and you filled it for grass.
yeah,
It just needs coloring, I think.
okay. All right. Anything else? Anybody? All right. Laura, do you have any questions on anything? Or you're good? Okay. Police report, I'll read it. There was 35 total traffic stops, 1 criminal arrest, 12 written warnings, 6 verbal warnings, 2 motor vehicle accidents, 151 total calls for service, and there was 35 follow-up incident investigations, 1,025 miles driven, and 111 gallons of fuel used. Fire company report, Blake?
For the month of July, we had 11 calls.
Okay. I saw you guys put a fundraiser thing on for the new year, that you're like selling some raffle tickets for like a cash giveaway or something, looks like. I'd maybe say something, maybe she, do you have the info on or no? Here, no,
Yeah, I don't have it right here, Lance. So we're gonna be doing a bunch of different things. We're gonna be doing, some gun drawings monthly. We got a bunch of things in the works.
yeah, those raffle tickets they're doing, it's $5 a ticket, and they're, the first prize they're doing is $1,000 cash. And then there's 4 other ones that are tiered down.
Yeah, like 50.
250, 100.
Yeah. And they're doing the drawing live on Facebook on New Year's Eve at the fire hall. Zoning report. Is there nothing?
It's right after the.
Oh, yeah. 0. People weren't doing illegal things in July. All right.
I'll make a motion.
Roll call, Wayne. John, and myself, aye. I'll get hold of that guy about the tape line deal there and tell him if we're in the area to go ahead and schedule us and then we can get the show. I told him it was 2 miles. So he did the calculation and stuff. It's pretty straightforward.